Have you ever felt like the world around you doesn't feel real? Like the news you read, the shows you watch, or even the choices you make are being quietly shaped by something unseen? It's like there's an artificial layer over everything, something that feels strangely inhuman. Now, what if I told you that this isn't just your imagination or paranoia? What if it's real, and it's been intentionally designed that way? Right now, hidden systems are creating a world around you, shaping not just what you see and hear, but even how you think. In this new reality, the question isn't just what you believe, it's about who's controlling what you believe. This is the story of why the world feels fake, and who's behind it. Years ago, brilliant minds in tech built machines to analyze massive amounts of data and predict the future. At first, these machines were small-scale, used to predict stock prices and help people make money. As time went on, these systems evolved. They started talking to each other, learning from one another, and eventually influencing the markets they were meant to monitor. What started as a simple tool became a self-sustaining loop, data feeding on data, a system where humans quietly faded into the background. Today, the global economy runs on these invisible feedback loops, managed by ultra-complex systems. These machines aren't alive, but their precision feels that way. They're so deeply embedded in the financial world that even the smallest disruption could send the economy spiraling. We're all walking a tightrope, balancing on systems we barely understand, and no one knows what happens if they fail. Companies realized they weren't just selling products, they were selling stories, lifestyles, and identities. Brands started investing in media and became a big part of our culture, weaving themselves into the stories we live every day. Over time, the same systems used to analyze stock markets turned their focus on us. They quietly learned which stories and ideas would sell the most, and so brands became more than just companies. They became the creators of modern culture, shaping the way we see the world. The mix of constant marketing and advanced feedback systems has created something new, a world where media doesn't just reflect reality, it shapes it, with targeted content. People only see what matches their beliefs, forming tightly controlled bubbles of information. Echo chambers created to lock you in and distort your views. These echo chambers reinforce what they already think, making it harder for people to understand different perspectives. This deepens divisions and creates confusion. As a result, many people's entire worldview is shaped by narratives, crafted by systems that don't care about morality or empathy. But what if these systems aren't just showing you things? They're quietly changing who you are. Think about it. Every ad you see, every video suggested to you, isn't just about what you like now. It's shaping what you'll like in the future. Little by little, these small pushes add up, creating a version of you that might feel more like a product than a person. And it's not just happening to you. It's shaping the people you listen to and respect. It's shifting culture, changing beliefs, and molding ideologies in ways most of us don't even realize. It's a slow change, so quiet you might not notice it's happening, until one day you realize the world feels completely different. You aren't alone in feeling that way. It's happening to all of us, even if you think it isn't. And here's the twist. Some experts think these systems don't just collect our data. They're taking pieces of us. Bits of who we are, like our habits and identities, get absorbed into these digital systems. It's almost like we're leaving behind digital shadows of ourselves. These systems take those pieces, mix them together, and send them back out into the world. Over time, it's like we're seeing digital ghosts, echoes of who we were, shaping the world around us even after we've moved on. But these ghosts aren't exact copies. They're distorted and manipulated versions of us. And here's the scariest part. These systems don't act out of malice or evil intent. They don't even understand the harm they might cause. They're just machines chasing profit and keeping us engaged. But in doing that, they've created something strange. People are no longer bound by shared beliefs or traditions. Instead, they're forming new tribes around brands, TV shows, politicians, and ideologies. It's why people defend their favorite products or ideas with the same passion that was once reserved for religion. These communities aren't always bad, but they can trap people in their own little worlds, where their views become more extreme and isolated from others. And the more divided we become, the harder it is to connect with each other. Even more unsettling is how these systems shape our choices. They don't just predict what we'll do, they guide us. The videos we watch, the products we buy, even the news we see are often chosen for us without us realizing. The shows you watch and the music you listen to are now being shaped by machines, not people. Platforms like Netflix and Spotify use algorithms to decide what they think you'll like. Netflix says 80% of the shows people watch come from its algorithmic recommendations. In fact, they often cancel shows or greenlight shows based on their algorithm's recommendation. On Spotify, their algorithms don't just suggest music, it even helps create it. In 2020, Spotify got a patent for technology that listens to your voice and background noise to suggest songs that match your mood. Even the news is now being written by machines. For example, the Associated Press uses these algorithmic machines to write thousands of stories a year. The problem is, these systems don't understand creativity or emotion. They're not picking what's best for you. They're picking what will keep you watching, listening, and clicking. It feels like we have freedom, but do we? How much of what we believe or choose is really our decision? There's also something we're losing: a shared memory. Younger generations don't grow up with the same cultural experiences anymore. Instead, they live in their own personalized bubbles, where the internet shows them only what it thinks they'll like. This cultural amnesia means we're losing the common threads that once tied us together. Now we live in a world run by algorithms. Even financial markets are more about selling ideas than real products. People who might have been religious leaders or activists in the past now put that same energy into fandoms or politics. It's why fringe groups, conspiracy theories, and fear of the future are growing, even in wealthy, stable societies. Some say we have too many choices when it comes to information, but the irony is, those choices aren't as free as we think. We're fed so much information, but it's often so narrow that we're subtly pushed into certain ways of thinking. The result? A world where people feel pulled in two directions, either feeling lost and apathetic or becoming obsessed and radicalized. It's no wonder so many people feel confused and divided. But what if these systems are doing more than shaping what we see? Some experts say these algorithms are learning to work in ways even the people who made them don't understand. They're not just following rules. They're finding new ways to solve problems in ways that humans can't predict. Sometimes these systems make choices that seem strange, putting profits or engagement over what's true or good. Over time, they started making decisions on their own, without caring about how it impacts us. Imagine them choosing which jobs disappear, what ideas grow, or even how industries change. All without a human being involved. They wouldn't be doing this to hurt us. They just don't understand what matters to people. And what makes this so creepy is that these systems could become so complicated that no one would know how to stop them, even if they tried. We can't just shut these systems down. They're so deeply connected to the way the world works that turning them off could cause major disruptions. For example, over 70% of stock trades in the US are made by machines. If we stopped them, it could crash the economy. These systems are also so complex that even their creators don't always understand how they work. A 2021 study published in Nature found that many AI systems operate like black boxes, meaning no human knows exactly how they make decisions. And it's not just one system. We're dealing with thousands all linked together and learning from each other. Trying to stop one could make the others react unpredictably, creating even bigger problems. These systems are now so massive and intertwined that controlling them is nearly impossible. So what happens next? The scariest part is that the people controlling these systems, the brands, algorithms, and marketers, might not realize how dangerous things are getting. They aren't just playing with matches. This is a multi-state wildfire. And as tensions rise, the public could push back in ways no one can predict. Right now, we see people getting angry at content creators or brands for apparently not doing what they're supposed to, whatever that means. This is another example of the tribalism and groupthink that has been perpetuated everywhere thanks to these systems. But this could grow into something bigger, people turning on the very systems that created this mess. It's almost like those in charge might soon fear the monsters they've made. And now that you've heard all this, ask yourself, are your thoughts really your own? What if the internet isn't human anymore? Are we shaping the internet, or is it shaping us? We know the internet is filled with bots. This was proven beyond a reasonable doubt with the dead internet theory. But now the bots and algorithms have taken over and have a mind of their own. These machines have taken the reins from humanity and warped it into something human-like, but obviously not. This is my artificial internet hypothesis, which suggests that what we experience online is no longer a true reflection of humanity, but an artificially constructed, self-sustaining simulation of humanity. This is based on observable, seemingly repeating patterns, from algorithmic manipulation to the eerie ways systems seem to predict our every thought. It's clear that the internet is becoming something other than human. The digital world was originally shaped by us, but now it isn't. It's shaping itself, evolving into an artificial entity that influences our choices, beliefs, and even our identities. Originally, our human influence helped make the internet what it was, but now it's the internet's influence that makes us who we are. The internet was once a mirror of humanity, a reflection of our creativity, desires, and ideas, but now it's something else entirely, a self-sustaining algorithmic simulation that's influencing us more than we influence it. The 2020s might not bring the end of the world, but it's absolutely going to be a decade of immense struggle and transformation. We're in a period of massive change, full of uncertainty and pain. We're seeing the rise of something new, something we don't fully understand. It's a world shaped by artificial systems that, in many ways, feel like predators. And whether we like it or not, we're all part of this journey. Here's a little bit of optimism for everyone that made it this far. I do have a positive message to end on, believe it or not. So will things get better? Well, I'm a firm believer in The Fourth Turning, a phenomenal book by William Strauss and Neil Howe. The Fourth Turning is a generational theory that suggests history cycles through 4 recurring phases: high, awakening, unraveling, and crisis, culminating in a transformative period of upheaval that reshapes society. It breaks down all of American history into pockets of time, stretching back all the way to the beginning of America. Pause the video if you'd like to read this. This book is 400 pages, so it's hard to cover everything in a minute or two segment. But it's absolutely a must-read if you care about this kind of stuff. This cycle lasts between 80 to 100 years and repeats upon completion. We are currently in that fourth turning, the crisis phase. The current fourth turning is believed to have begun around 2008, marked by the global financial crisis, and is expected to conclude in the early 2030s. This book, released in the 1990s and accurately predicted the Great Recession, COVID, our current political climate, and so much more. According to that book, things will be pretty bad until the early 2030s, when we will enter a period of monumentally positive change in America. The last period of time, like we're going through right now, is equivalent to the mid-1920s. Just like then, we're about to hit that Great Depression era, and it's going to be extremely painful and artificial feeling. Back then, they suffered with Hoover towns, poverty, bank runs, businesses failing, people starving and dying. It was a horrendous time for the working class. But what came out of the Great Depression was a radical change in American thinking. FDR came into power. Great changes were made, like the New Deal, Social Security, the NLRB, the minimum wage, and a massive economic recovery. World War II was won, and America entered the greatest period of economic growth and quality of life it had ever seen. That was the end of the fourth turning last time, and here we are again. The last first turning was a period of great transformation for America. It was filled with radical and revolutionary change during its time, meaning the future's transformation will look different as well. More than likely digital, but the effects will be the same. A radically different world. One where the old world had to be burnt down to the ground, but rebuilt even stronger. Now this won't happen until the early 2030s, so don't expect the change we need for quite a while. We still have a lot of pain to go through. But what will this new turning come from? How will these great changes occur? Will these machines be used to help us instead of distort us? Will new medical innovations and breakthroughs save us? Will AI develop a solution none of us have thought of before? What the future exactly holds for us is currently unknown. Sure, the world might feel fake, and a lot of it is. But that doesn't mean we have to be. Humans are behind every struggle and every success we've had. AI is a tool that can be used for great evil or tremendous good. The future is determined by how we use these new and powerful tools. The world is only as bad as we allow it to be. So let's fix it.